Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, and welcome to the news that Alex Iwobi has departed the club. He's left for a deal around £22 million. He's joined Premier League side Fulham, of course Fulham who we lost to on the first day of the season. They've obviously got a bit of money to throw around. We know that Mitrovic went to the Saudi League. Obviously got money to spend. They had that deal for Campos a couple of weeks ago now. That one didn't quite materialise. Obviously they still wanted to recruit, and they clearly see him as a winger. And that's a massive question for the club going forwards now. Sorry, that in terms of the recruitment, of course, people would probably, most people would agree, he is better centrally. He hasn't been used centrally under Dyche. He's been used on the wing where we have lacked a lot of depth, and clearly Fulham are viewing him to sign him in that wing position as well. And it's a mixed reaction. I feel. I think it's hard to kind of nail down whether I'm particularly happy about this or particularly down about it. I think it's a really good deal by the club. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He joined for around 28 million with add-ons. We don't know if those add-ons were achieved. If they were performance related, then I highly doubt that. Now departing for 22 with 1 year left on his contract, you just can't argue with the club on this one, really. I think that obviously the contract was there. It was on the table for quite a few months. It almost looked like he was definitely going to sign that last season at one point, but it hasn't happened. If the club don't cash in on him now, we will probably just run down his contract. He can discuss pre-contract agreements in January. It's the last chance for the club to really recoup anything from him. He obviously wants to leave for a different challenge. Maybe wants to be back in London, of course. We know that we signed him from Arsenal, and I think it's a really good deal from a financial perspective from the club. I think 22 million for him is quite a lot with 1 year left on his contract, and you can't really argue with the financial deal side of the deal. But in terms of his impact on the pitch, I think he is going to be massively missed. But I think that those saying that this is ridiculous, he didn't have an impact on the team last year. He was one of our key players. Summed up in his stats really, he was first for assists, key passes into the final third, into the box, progressive carries, and attempted dribbles. He was one of our most creative players, and one of those where you probably did want more. You wanted more goal contributions from him in terms of that solid stat, but all the stats around him show that he was such an important player. He played so many minutes as well in the minutes that he was available, and I think the club will miss him. I think his impact on the team now he's left I think it'll be more obvious once he's left than while he's here. I think the job that he's done has probably gone underappreciated at times. I do think that he is much more limited out on the wing. I think centrally is where it suits him more. I think he said that as well himself, and obviously I don't know if he'll be getting that at Fulham. They're clearly signing him to play on the wing. As I said, that Ocampos deal broke down, and not comparable players, but in terms of their position, they're obviously looking to strengthen on the wing. And look, Dyche hasn't used him centrally, but in terms of our now wing options that are left, Harrison should be coming back from injury after the international break. I'd imagine the same will probably be for McNeil, who's back in training. Dan Juma can play as well, and Dobbin, I think he's done excellently at the start of the season. He's been asked, there's a lot asked of him, and I think he's doing really well too. I think the expectations aren't massively high. I don't think anyone's expecting him to pull up many trees, but what he's been asked to do, I'd be really impressed. And of course, Damari Gray, we'll have to see if the club managed to get him to leave. It looks like he's been destined to leave the whole summer, and I'm surprised a deal hasn't come for him yet. That deal to Al Shabab clearly kind of fallen through now. Once their board changed over, the deal was all but agreed, but a new board, they've decided they want Carrasco, and now Carrasco's gone there. So I think it's unlikely they will come back in for Damari Gray, but I don't know. I think it's a really good deal for the club. I think that's what it has to be looked at. His creative impact on the side was, as I said, probably underappreciated at times, and wish him all the best at Fulham. I don't think he's maybe hit the heights that the club wanted him to. He had so much potential when he came through at Arsenal, but when they sold him, it showed that maybe he hadn't fulfilled their expectations. Maybe didn't quite hit the heights at Everton either, but a very, very good player. Wish him all the best at Fulham. I think it's a good deal for the club to get the money before he leaves on a free next season. But let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. It's one departure on the day. I'm sure we will see more as the day progresses as well. But thank you all very much for watching.